Rabbi, Furst, 6th of June, Mishna Berura.
Oh, guess what? My picture came back.
Good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, Yeshiva with Samanapshi. Here in Shlomo care of Zoom. This is our second share, Mr. Berura, here for base Knesset. We're in Siman Kuf Nun Beis. We did the Mechaber yesterday, and now continuing on. Let's start from the beginning. Let's read the Mechaber, and then we'll pick up with the Mr. Berura as we go along. Who would like to read Mer, or who would like to do a little reading this morning?
Okay, Nun Bet. Okay, hold on. And which Mishna again? Oh, Olive.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Kuf Nun Bet Olive. Let's see. It says Ein Sotrin Beit HaKnesset K'dei Livnot Beit HaKnesset Acher. Okay, so you can't
Dismantle.
I was going to say tear down, but okay. You can't dismantle. Okay. A shul in order to build another one. That's interesting. I guess it depends what okay, the definition of a shul, I guess it depends also. Okay, good. Shema she'yera lahem ones shelo yivnu ha'acher. So let's see. Perhaps that it will appear to them an onus, disgrace.
Maybe something will be something may happen beyond their control.
Go beyond their control. Okay.
Bonus is something beyond their control.
Okay. Okay, so perhaps it'll be beyond their control.
If there's no one real good word in English that I've found that is corresponding to the word onus. I haven't found one word that really is appropriate to translate that word onus. I haven't found a good English word for that.
Okay, so it's beyond their control.
Right. I think that's because that the Western mind can't conceive of anything that's beyond their control.
Well, that could be.
No, you should know that the language of a people, of a nation, reflects their attitude. It's something which they can't imagine, or they can't accept philosophically or something like that. It's reflected in the language.
So how come there's so many words for sin, Rabbi?
For sin, how many words?
A million words for sin in Hebrew.
Because we realize there are a lot of that sin is what is sin? What is sin is when you're not obeying the Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So there are a lot of different ways you can do that, right? There are a lot of different ways you can do that. For example, I remember I told you this at least once when my wife was studying for a master's degree in speech therapy. So she had in the bathroom we had several of her textbooks there. So you have to spend a certain amount of time once in a while in the bathroom, so you pick up something to read. So there's a book on the development of language, how language develops.
Hmm.
So they use it as an example that the premise was that the language that develops for any particular group of people or culture is a reflection of their experience and their attitude, right? For example, so they gave an example: Eskimos, for example, they have like 25 different words for snow because they live constantly with different with snow. For snow, for in English, we have the word snow, sleet, freezing rain. We have a handful of words which describe different variances in this cold stuff coming down from the clouds in the wintertime. But the Eskimos, that they live with it constantly. It's on their minds, and they're experiencing very seriously and on a constant basis. So they have a lot more words. Also, the Americans, there are a lot of words for money. You have a lot of words for money: cash, dough,
Moolah.
all kinds of different bucks. All kinds of different words for money because that's part of their experience. So Lou was asking about Hebrew as sin. So sin is a part of our experience. It's something which you should avoid, and it's something which you should do tshuva if you fall into it. But yeah, that's part of our experience. When you're an eved to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, so part of your experience is obeying his wishes, his commands in the best possible way. And if you falter some way, so that in some great way or little or lesser way is a sin. So yeah, that's true, right? That's right. So honestly, I haven't been able to find a good word in English that properly describes the word oinus that we have in Hebrew. So yeah, okay, let's continue on.
Okay, so it's beyond their control that they should not build another one.
Right,
Okay.
because there may be something, right? Shema Yira, may occur to them. Oinus says something, situation beyond their control. Shalo Yivna they will not be able to build the other one. So now, if they've dismantled the original base Knesset, and now they have no place to daven, and they were planning to build another one, but something happened which caused them to not fulfill their plan.
So does
So now
that
they're
mean
stuck.
that if you want to build another shul, you can build it and then dismantle the first shul?
Yeah, apparently, right. That's apparently true. Correct.
Yeah, that's what he's going to say here.
It's not apparently a halacha which is based on the kedusha of a base knesset, that it's kodesh and therefore you can't dismantle it, right? We'll see about that. That there's an element of that as well, but according to the Machaber now, it seems like it's a practical consideration that since you have to have a place to daven, right? We saw back in yeah, if you look back in Kuf Nun, Sif Aleph.
Nun Sif Aleph.
In Kuf Nun Sif Aleph Kolfin.
Kuf Nun. Why can't I find Kuf Nun? Hold on. Okay. Let's see.
Have it there?
My pagination is unusual.
Going back about 2-3 pages. It's not far away.
Oh, yeah, I do see it. Okay. So it says, Kofin b'nei ha'ir ze et ze livnot beit ha'knesset.
So you see that you force the people of the city, each one can force the other one to build a Beit Knesset.
Oh, okay.
And if you look,
Believe.
you can, that's something else. You look at the Mishna Berura Sifkat Nalet.
Okay, so it says, let's see. Mishna Berura. Oh, Kofin v'chule. Okay. Zelashon Harambam, Hilchot Tefillah, Eric Yud Aleph. Okay, so it's law in the Rambam. Okay. Kol makom sheyesh bo asara mi-Yisrael. Every place that has in it 10 people, 10 Israel, 10 Jews, tzarik lahachin lo, buy it. Sheyiknesu bo tefillah b'chol eight tefillah. Okay, so they need to prepare themselves a shul that they can enter into it for prayer at any time of prayer.
Right.
Okay. Makom zeh nikra Beit Knesset. This place is called a Beit Knesset.
So, right. So you see that there's an absolute obligation that if you have a minion of people, they have to have a Beit Knesset, right?
Mhm.
So therefore, what we're learning now that you cannot dismantle an existing Beit Knesset until you build another one, because that means that even though you're intending, and even though you may have all we'll see. The Mishnah we learned yesterday explained even if you have all the building materials ready, everything was ready to go, but since something may come along, they may force you to sell the building materials like pigeon shavuyim, and therefore you may be caught in an oinus, and you may not be able to rebuild the Beit Knesset as you originally intended. Therefore, you cannot. It's forbidden to dismantle the existing Beit Knesset until you actually have built the second one in its place. Okay, and it's again apparently at this point it's not a question of because it's the kedusha of the base Knesset, right? That's something else, but that's not what's being referred to at this point.
Okay. Very good. So, because now I forgot where we were at in the other page.
Still in the Mechaber.
We're going back?
Yeah, back to Kufnun base, correct.
Oh, okay. So we can Islahem Ones Shaloy now here Ella Bonim. Okay, here Tichila.
We're at
Yachar Kach. So Trim Ayashan. It's a little print. Okay, Vafilu Lo Ratsu. Listor rock, Mechitza, Achad le Parchivo, Nami, Dina. This is law, I guess. Okay. The Hane Mili, Shehaya Harishon Chazak. What's
so how do you mean when this is applied that you cannot dismantle the existing Beit Knesset until you rebuild the other one? Shahaya Rishon Chazak. That's when the original base Knesset is strong, meaning it's a stable structure.
okay? So when it is a stable structure. Okay, Chazak. Okay.
Did you skip
Yeah, Lou?
Did you skip the parentheses? Vafilu? Did you skip that?
Where's the filu? 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 Where's the Now, אפילו לא רצה לסתור רק מחיצה אחד לאחר נמי הנה הוכי. Even if you just want to break down one wall in order to enlarge in it, the same halacha applies. We'll see
Oh,
about
really?
that. Yeah, because I mean, if it's I have to see what the details are. I mean, it could be because sometimes when you break the wall, it becomes unusable, right? So we'll have to see. We'll see what the Mr. Boer says about that.
Well, that's interesting. Because I think when in Highland Park, when our shul expanded,
Right.
they built the building. It was, just a big extension. They built a much larger Beit Knesset, and they didn't fill in the windows until after the Beit Knesset was finished.
What do you mean by filling the windows? They didn't.
Well, the side of the building had windows,
Right.
and that's where they built the new Beit Knesset.
Uh-huh. Right.
So, but they left the windows until the very end, and then they filled them in with bricks.
Interesting. That might be part of this. Might be interesting. Yeah.
So maybe. Okay, let's see where I left off. Hazak, okay. Aval im charvu yisodotav o natu hitalav lipol. Okay, so what's that? But if charvu, is that the connection? They connected?
Well, here, charva from the word charva means like if it was became eroded or weakened, the foundations, right?
Oh, okay. Oh, not new cut lovely pole or a wall, I guess, or its wall begins to fall or is falling.
Right. The way coastal or not, the wall is leaning to fall. The wall is leaning to fall.
Okay, it's leaning to fall. Okay, so trino toe miyad. It can be immediately dismantled. Hmm.
Right. So if the foundations were crumbling, or the wall was leaning, and it's obviously going to be a sakana, you can't daven in a place where it's a sakana. You can't do anything in a place where it's a sakana. It's forbidden to go to a place where it's a sakana. So then halacha is social also miyad. You take it down, you dismantle it immediately. Makilin livnos mimhera, yom b'layla, and you build day and night. I mean, you put up, you get a continual effort to rebuild the base Knesset as fast as possible.
Okay, let's see. Shema yitchach hasha'ah v'yishaer harev. So what? Otherwise,
Shema, perhaps. Shema is perhaps.
Perhaps titchach hasha'ah. The immediacy of the hour, and they will remain destroyed, I guess. Charev.
Right. If you don't do it, these situations tend to drag out. So if you don't make a concerted effort immediately to rebuild it, the situation can just kind of drag out, and it'll remain in a state of disrepair.
What is Yishaer?
Remain.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do the Haggah here. Haggah.
Oh, okay. So let's see the Haggah. It says V'asur likach avanim mibeit haKnesset hayishana K'dei livnot chadasha. Okay, so it's forbidden to take the stones of the old Beit Knesset in order to build the new one. The asur listor davar mi Beit Knesset ella imkain oseh al menat livnot. Okay, and it's forbidden to restore again, destroy. No.
Right. It's also the store
Oh yeah, to
government.
destroy. Right, restore. Anything from the Beit Knesset, Ella, but if it's done, unless it's done what on a condition of building it, of the,
Right. Meaning, unless, like, you can't dismantle anything from the base Knesset unless it was made on the condition that it was going to be using it to rebuild it. We'll see about this. This is you wouldn't believe it, but if a person puts, you see many times people put tape notices, posters to the walls of the Shule and base Knesset, and sometimes if you pull off the tape, it pulls off the paint. That could very well be it could be even a deraisa to do such a thing like.
They do that in front of my house also.
What do you mean?
They put up posters on the we have a storage bin that holds the gas tanks for
Right.
the gas for the ovens, for the stoves.
Right.
And they put up posters on there. It looks terrible. So we tore down the posters and we scraped off all the junk, and then we painted it. And they put new posters up. I tear down the new poster and it pulls off the paint. I have to repaint it.
Oy.
I repaint it like once every couple of weeks.
Mhm.
Wow.
It's terrible.
Maybe first of all, if I'm not sure, is it considered private property, the storage tank?
Yeah, it's in front of my house.
Okay, no, I'm just asking. I mean, it could be sometimes it's part of the public property. I don't know.
Yeah, I put
So-
up flowers and I did all kinds of things to show that this is not Hefker.
Right. So you might want to put up. You might want to get someone to write you a nice sign in Hebrew that this is private. This is private, and your makpid that the poster shouldn't be placed here. You might want to do that. Another thing is you have to talk to someone who knows about these things. That I don't know. Sometimes certain materials will make it difficult for the posters to stick. I'm not sure what material that could be, but I'm sure they have different materials that you could paint or spray on it, which would make it difficult for the posters to stick.
That's a thought.
Yeah. You need someone who knows about different paints and different. What are they putting on these posters that they put up with the whitewash and things like that?
I'm sorry, what?
How do they apply the posters
Tape.
with tape?
They put them up with tape, and the tape sticks to the paint. And when I pull the tape off, the paint comes off too.
Right. So you could probably get some kind of a sand, maybe like a sand-based paint or something like that will make it that the tape can't stick to it. You have to do a little research and see what kind of paint will be. Yeah, I'm sure they have some kind of product around it.
It's a good idea. I'll see if I can Google it. Maybe I can see if there's something on Amazon that they sell that
Yeah,
resists defacement.
yeah, adhesive, something like adhesive resistant paint, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Let me know what happens. Okay.
Okay,
Um,
thanks.
all right, okay, I think that's about our time anyway. Okay, so we're gonna review this tomorrow, and there are a lot of different details here. But again, like this last point about not not breaking anything in the Beit Knesset, that's something which is very common. You know, sometimes people might get angry and they might bang the wall or something like that, and they'll leave a hole. It's not so simple that it's not an issur. Could be a sin. Okay.
Very
Thank you
good.
both. Very good. Thank you,
Yeshkayach.
Mayor. Thank you, Lou. Hope to both see you tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi. Skoyach Meir.
Lotia.
Thank you both. Okay. Be well.
Okay, very good.
All right, Meir, hopefully you noticed that I'm hosting for Rabbi Levitt. He's on his